Yeah. Street verse music. This one's about courage and faith, about how one woman changed the fate of a nation. For such a time as this.
Yeah, in Persia's land, where gold was bright, King Ahasuerus feasted night by night. 7 days of food and wine, royal court so fine, divine. He called for Vashti, come be seen, but she refused. Lost her queen, he said find another fair and kind. And destiny shifted on God's design. Crowns fall,
but God's still moving.
in Shushan's gate lived Esther fair, a humble heart with faithful prayer. Mordecai raised the wise and true, said keep quiet about your roots, stay cool. She entered the palace, found her place, won the king's heart with her grace. But the Lord was working behind the scenes. Through this orphan girl turned queen.
For such a time as this, she stood tall. When fear rose up, she gave her all. Faith don't fade when the danger calls. God's hand moved through it all.
Yeah, Mordecai caught wind of a deadly plan. Two guards scheming to strike the man. He told the queen, she told the king. Saved his life, they wrote that thing. But a mind rose, full of pride. Love to see folks bow outside. Mordecai said, I bow to none. I serve the Lord, the Holy One. Haman burned with evil intent, plotted the fall, the Jews' descent. Cast to purr the light today, but heaven's will would lead the way.
For such a time as this, she stood tall. When fear rose up, she gave her all. Faith don't fade when the danger calls. God's hand moves through it all.
Mordecai cried out, ashes and tears, said that's the risk time, the moment's here. Don't stay silent, your heaven's plan. You were made for this, take your stand. She said fast with me, 3 days strong, no food, no drink, faith song. If I perish, I'll perish, that's how I fight. My trust in God, my soul in light.
Yeah. Courage is faith in motion.
Yeah, day 3 came, she dressed in gold, walked through halls, fierce and bold. The king looked up, his anger gone, held out the scepter, she moved on. What do you see? Yeah, he kindly said, a banquet, my king, bring her mine, she pled. They dined and drank, the plan began, but the Lord was working his greater hand. That night the king couldn't find rest, called for records, the royal best. Who saved my life? He asked the scribe. Mordecai said he, that's the vibe. Was he on a no, they replied. Then bless that man, the king cried. Haman walked in, pride still high. Honor a man, said the king, don't lie. Haman thought, he's talking about me. But no, it was Mordecai's victory.
Yeah, justice turns in God's time. Truth rises, love don't decline.
Yeah, Esther's banquet, moment came. Wine was poured, she spoke his name. My king, my life, my people too. Our soul to death, if only you knew who it did. The king exclaimed, she turned and said, Haman's the name. The king stood up, stormed away. Haman fell, no words to say. Guards came fast, decree was clear. Hung on his gallows and drew near. What man plans for evil, God flips for good. Esther rose, her people freed, a new decree, God's victory seed. Mordecai crowned, robes of blue, faithful hearts, he made all new. From fear to peace, from dark to dawn, God's mighty plan kept moving on. Every page of pain turned grace, when Esther stood and took her place.
For such a time as this, we stand strong. Even when the nights feel long, faith holds fast, God rights wrongs. His mercy sings eternal song.
When the world feels silent and prayer seems small, remember, he still hears it all. Maybe you were born for this, for such a time as this.
Yeah. Street verse music. She changed the kingdom, but God changed the world through her faith.
For such a time as this.